Okay, I want to talk about something we all, as writers, authors, have come across: writer's block. I'm not going to go too on about this because I think we all understand at this point in time and really what it is. And really, when it comes, it's just really people wanting to know, well, what do you do to get over it, right? Well, writers for centuries have always posed that question, and it's really something you have to find out for yourself. We can share with each other and give each other tips, but it's really up to you to figure out what works for you. Um, Writers have all kinds of tricks we'll create for ourselves. Like if we're demotivated, we'll come up with tricks like bribing ourselves with a treat to get to write or whatever. So we develop these things. So the same thing goes with this. The same thing goes with block. You develop your own techniques. You can share some with each other. You can try other people's. You just see what works for you. And you keep trying. If you're at a really bad long block, then you just keep trying different. But it's really... So what I would say, though, is overall what you're trying to do, which people don't really talk so much about, with these tricks, is what kind of place are you trying to get back to? And that is, you are trying to get back to a creative space where you can proceed in what you started, right? So where does creativity come from? And I've talked about this the 17 years I was an art instructor as well to my students. We've talked a lot about philosophy of art and creation and how it's the human instinct to create and a need to create. And where do we create from? We create from a very childlike, simple, instinctive place. Unfortunately, society can sometimes beat that out of us. But creating art or writing or anything, creating anything creative is a natural thing we do the minute we get here. We see it with toddlers. You just throw them outside, a little toddler, and anything around them, they will make a toy out of it or play with it or an adventure. And as they start to get older, one or two, you can give them cardboard boxes and give them anything, and they if not plugged into a TV or a video game, of course, to distract them, then their instinct is to just create. Nobody told them to. It's our natural instinct is to create. And that space is coming from that child. The reason children can do it so effortlessly is because they just came from source. They're new here. So they still have that. So it is that childlike state, very similar to the childlike state we get in, is where we get our creativity. So what you're really trying to do, just to be clear on the mission, what you're really trying to do is get back to that childlike creative state where you can just create with abandon, be it illustrating or writing. But today we're just talking about writing. So, there's lots of tricks people can do. I will sometimes, if a specific genre of thing or story I'm getting a block on, to say illustrate or even writing, whatever, either or. Maybe I'll watch a cartoon or a movie that's not exactly the same, but something in the realm, whether visually or in the writing that I wanted to do, or just maybe some of my favorite books or movies or TV shows or whatever. Anything that you think in the time when you're trying to think of stuff that might get you back in the mood, especially if there's anything that got you in the mood to write it in the first place, well, then go back to what got you in the mood in the first place. But anything that gets you in that state, but it could be anything, the tips and the tricks. I mean, for some people, if they're physical people and they just need some endorphins, maybe it's just running around, go for a jog, go in nature, go play with a kid. Playing with kids, playing with animals, that'll get you in a childlike state. So there's all kinds of tips and tricks you can develop or share. You can see in the groups online, people share them. They're endless tricks, but you're trying to get back to that childlike state. So anything can work as long as it gets you back to that childlike state. So that's it. That's how you get out of writer's block, and you just keep at it. Sometimes it works, and then you're back in the zone, and you're good to go. Sometimes you might drop back into writer's block again. Well, then you have to go back to your tips and tricks and your methods of getting back to that childlike state. And that's it. When you get into that creative state, and again, there's so many ways to do it, music, art, movies, uh, whatever peels your potato, you'll figure it out, develop those techniques, and use them. But it's just a matter of getting back to that creative space. That's all it is. It's really creating a blank space because that's where we create the best. If we're too, I mean, yeah, sometimes we can get into a very determined where the mind's kind of more involved, but we're still also in a creative state, so we can create some really fantastic stuff. Yeah, great. But with writer's block, you're really just, your best bet is just to get back to that very simple, creative, childlike place, and then the answers will just come, and then the ideas will come. You go, oh, okay. It happens to me all the time. As soon as I get back into that lovely, childlike wonder state of wonder, sorry, bam, the ideas just come flooding back in. So, writer's block is about getting back to that childlike state, that natural state that you were born into, that's natural to you, that creative state, where you're just creating to create because it's fun.